Good morning, Bryan. Really appreciate you coming on at 6 in the morning on a Saturday. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad I like you.
The reason I invited you on is because I saw a win from you in the copywriting campus. Could you explain what that was about?
Yeah, so it was actually a variety of wins. Some small, or mostly were, in my opinion, smaller wins. But the bigger one was probably the one that stood out for you. The smaller wins were various things. I do graphic design and various other things, if you will. And that's where the smaller wins came from. The bigger win came from a business that made some additional revenue from his first startup business and took that revenue and wanted to create another business. And essentially, what I did with that client was started a discovery project. We nailed down everything that we felt he needed and in order. And because it is a lot of work and it's a newer business, um, it's actually a biweekly retainer, and it's about 2,300. So that was really nice to land, and yeah.
hmm So 2,300 means 4,600 per month on retainer, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And how did the real world contribute to you acquiring that client?
Oh man. It's funny. So for those that don't know, I'm an old guy. I'm 39. So my professional experience kind of it's really humbling, the experience, because when you're my age and you've done the things I've done in terms of business management and leading people and just it being successful essentially in your own right from a 9 to 5 perspective, and then you turn around and you join the real world, because they say this all the time. What's $50 a month, right? Just to I joined it just to see what else I could learn, because I thought I knew it all, you know, and I was surprisingly humbled in the fact that I didn't. And a lot of the takeaways I took from the real world come from the copywriting campus, and the professor there. He goes into what a discovery project is and all these different layers of essentially looking at a business from the outside, determining what their needs are, and getting on that sales call with them, fleshing it out, and really adding value to them so that they can grow, and in turn obviously you can get paid. But it's really hard to put into words, and I didn't think it would be. I'm like, oh, this shit's going to be easy, but it's really hard. The information you get is so invaluable, but at the same time, it's so like, why didn't I think of that kind of thing? And I think it really helped me in terms of, because I'm not a sales call kind of person. You know what I mean? So it really helped me in kind of the process in which a sales call should flow, if that makes sense. At least in my mind, it did. It really helped me with, like, I didn't even know what copywriting was before I joined the real world. And it allowed me to add another layer to my arsenal, so to speak, in terms of how I can help a client grow. And it, just to put it plain and simple, it's been invaluable with the things that the professors teach. I don't want to obviously give anything away or whatnot, but if you put in the work and so like my first month, all I did was study. That's all I did. I was soaking up information and putting it into practice and reviewing everybody's work, including my own. And when you do those things like they tell you to, you're gonna see your rewards. Some people it's a lot quicker than others. Some people it's a lot longer than others. But if you take the lessons given and you put them into practice, you can't fail. That's my long-winded answer to that.
How different is the material in the real world compared to what you can find out on the internet?
Well, for one, I feel like because I've actually done that. I've actually gone out there and spent that money on, this other stuff that you see people, push online, if you will, for lack of better words. And uh, there's a couple of things. One, for me personally, I felt like it was more personalized, and I kind of felt like I was the one talking to the professor versus the professor talking to 100,000 different people. Um, it's very easy to digest and make it so simple, like a caveman can do it. It's compared to, like I said, outside people that have, other people that do it. It's always, I hate to say it, but it's always gimmicky. It's always, I'm going to give you just enough, and then I'm going to upset. And you'll hear this in the real world in a lot of the courses when compared to outside the real world. It's always, even after you pay a lot of money to join, these courses or whatever the case may be, there's always it's always a sprinkle of information, and then they want to high ticket you into something else without actually teaching you anything. With the real world, it's $50 a month, and what you see is what you get, and you know it's just as simple as that. It's my 6-year-old could do this. It's how easy it is, and I'm like kicking myself in the foot, or can I say ass on here? Kicking
Yeah.
myself in the ass because I'm like, man, because I don't want to say followed, but I don't know if followed's the right word, but I actually had my
Well aware
eyes
of.
I had my eyes on the real world for probably 6 months prior to joining. And I was like, why the hell didn't I know why I didn't, but I was like, why the hell didn't I just do it? It was only at the time it was only like $50. And the funny thing is for me, when I joined, it was like right after, I think it was like December 15th or so when it went from 40 to 149. And I literally missed it by like 24 hours. And I was like, this is horseshit. But I was saying that to myself. I was like, I'm sitting here for the past 2 weeks, like at the checkout screen, not checking out. And then I finally go check out and it's like 140. And I'm like, is this shit broken? But then I realized, what had happened. So, regardless, I bit the bullet. And for what it's worth, yes, I made that $140, $50 sign up back within like 3 weeks, I think, something like that. It was within my first month. So, um, I'm sorry, I don't know if that answered your question or not,
Yeah.
but
Now there's a discount again. It's back to $50.
do what?
But it's now, I believe there's a discount running.
Back to
So it's
40.
back to yeah,
Yeah.
50.
Yeah. So I like missed it. I missed the original, got the 149 window. And then when they dropped it down, I think it was like New Year's or
Yeah.
the end of the year, like right after Christmas, it went back down to 40, 49 or whatever. And I was like, it was funny because at the time I had already been well into the courses, and I sent an email to support and I was like, hey, I'm on the alpha testing team and I help you guys catch bugs and this and that. I missed this $50 window. And it was funny because you could see the support guys and, online. And I was like messaging them and I was like, what's up, man? I was like, how about a high five for helping out? Da, 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 da. He's like, yeah, no. And I was like, dude, I'm kidding. It's fine. I've already made my money back. But it was more for humor's sake than anything. I think it was what's her name? I can't even pronounce her name, but yeah, it was one of the support people. But I was like, just giving you a hard time, making you work for the day. So
Okay. Uh, now, my point was now that it's back to $50, $49. Why do you think they only charge $50 for everything you get, all the value, the community, everything?
Why do I think they charge that?
Yeah.
I think it makes, from a business standpoint, I think it kind of proves a point and makes a statement that, you know, we offer this. It costs less than, it costs more than that for me to take my woman out to a decent dinner, let alone a nice dinner, for $50 a month or for one night out of the month. And if it's almost like a what do you got to lose statement, you know what I mean? Um, and it's backed by every professor being a self-made millionaire. You can go look them up on Google. You can see their net worth. Um, at least I did, and um, it's like a no-brainer because I mean the people that are out there offering similar things, they're charging for just to sign up. They're charging like thousands of dollars. If you're lucky, you might get them below 1,000. With the only social proof they have is themselves and a few testimonials, this and that they pick and choose from. Whereas with the real world, you've got, what is it, like 8 professors? And some of them you don't even know about. Some of them aren't even, we've got professors that aren't even, you know, really advertised. And that is, I mean, I don't see anybody outside of the real world saying, hey, come join our this and make this money and da 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 for $50 a month. Oh, by the way, we've got 10 millionaire professors that do these exact things. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like if you want, I don't know, it's hard to explain, man. It's just like no brainer. If you don't, then something's wrong with you. That's just kind of the bottom line. Because I mean, you can go dig in a garbage can every day of the month and find $50 to just try it and see. Um, it doesn't, worst case scenario, you cancel it after 30 days because you're too lazy to make your money back. Um, that's just kind of my mindset on it. I will say this, it is, they give it to you in such an easy format to digest and everything, but at the same time, it's challenging. It's hard. You actually have to put in the work to see results. And if you don't, you won't. There's a lot of truth in the whole 99% of you will fail, 1% of you will succeed. And there's a reason that is what it is. So, yeah.
Okay.
I know
Now,
I kind of filled there. Apologies.
good. Moving on to, has the community had any kind of impact or effect on you?
Yeah. I've actually made some good friends in the community. Simply, especially from the beginning phase when you're going through the courses and, there's different stages before you complete, the course and, you join your, special group of students within the campus you choose. You're constantly, and then I'm speaking only to copywriting because I can't speak for the other campuses, but you're constantly reviewing each other's work. And throughout the process, from beginning to end, you start to see and notice the people that are there all the time, the ones that are contributing all the time, the ones that are giving legitimate feedback all the time, the ones that are, telling you more so what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. Um, and on top of that, so it kind of makes you want to get better because on one hand you'll receive a compliment for good work, etc. But on the other hand, somebody's going to tell you your shit needs work. This is what I would do differently or whatever. So it's a really good mixture of hey, you're doing great. Here's what you can do to make it better. So you're not, as you're going through, you're not getting that inflated ego, so to speak. And then the other thing for me was seeing all the wins. Oh my God, some of those dudes, I'm like, one day I will be you, kind of thing, or, whatever the case may be. And then, everything from small wins to really big wins. I think that's probably the biggest driving force for me is seeing those wins because you've got from 14 to my age, 39. I think I'm the oldest person in the real world. But
You'd be surprised.
you've got 14 to 39 year olds making, I see some kids in there, they're not even out of high school yet, and they're making more. They're damn near making as much as I am with my 9 to 5. Now I make decent 9 to 5, but it's great. Like when my kid's 6 years old, when he's 14, guess what he's going to be doing? The real world, if it's around. So, you retire dad early or something. But uh, it's just a beautiful thing to see the camaraderie, to see everybody pushing each other to be better in terms of health and fitness. Um, in terms of, I've seen people go from struggling and giving up hope and this and that to, oh my God, I got my first win. I've been doing this for 6, 7 months. They get their first win 2 months later. They're they took that first win and quadrupled it into whatever it is monthly. And it's, you just got to keep going. And, for like I said, for some people, it comes quicker. For some, it doesn't. But it's at the end of the day, we're all here to see each other succeed. So that's the important thing for me in terms of what I've gotten out of those things, out of the interactions with the other campus students.
Mhm. I love the answer. How different does your average day look like now compared to before you joined the real world?
So before I joined the real world, my average day was I would wake up about 7 a.m., get ready for my 9 to 5, which starts at 8. Drink my coffee, eat my breakfast, sit down, go through meetings, and I would be done at like 3:30, 4 o'clock from my 9 to 5. Would get off, go to the gym, and then I'll admit it, I was a Netflix and chill guy. I was the gamer guy. And I know that's kind of on the inside the real world. And if you watch the Tate brothers, it's a running joke of if you're a gamer, you're a dork. Um, I'm a dork. Granted, I don't do it, and if I do, it's like maybe for like it's gotten to the point now where like if I do it longer than 15 minutes, I feel like I'm rotting away, which is a good thing. And when I do have my son with me, he's 6, he likes video games, so I do make that a bonding time with him. But my schedule has changed from, like I said, waking up at 7, 8 to 3:30 work, and then go to the gym for an hour, come home, eat dinner, whatever, watch TV, play video games. Yeah, so it's gone from that to waking up at 5 a.m. on a Saturday to talk to this handsome dude in an interview. Um, it's gone from that to waking up at 5 a.m. Monday through Sunday and not going to bed until 10 or 11 p.m. And in those hours, literally working, be it 9 to 5, be it my side business that I have started thanks to the real world. It's it's work, 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 gym, eat, sleep, work, gym. It's all I do. Um, I do take one day off a week, which is Sunday for religious reasons. Um, but yeah, that's how it's changed. I've gone from working 8 hours a day to like 15, 16 hours a day most of the time. So it does vary when on the days I have my son throughout the week. But I bought a laptop. So when he's playing with the dog in the living room, I'll sit there on the couch with my laptop and work a little bit, um, play with, while giving him attention. So, um, yeah, that's how it's changed.
Mhm. Very nice. And when you first joined the real world, do you remember what the biggest challenge you faced was when you first started out?
So I'm one of those people when I do something new, I engulf myself in it. I If I'm not 110% consumed by it, I don't want it. So the biggest challenge for me in the real world was I picked one campus, obviously, which was copywriting. I went through that stuff like, for lack of better words, 14-year-old goes through things he shouldn't go through, or 16-year-old rather. And then on top of that, I realized there were more lessons and more stuff in like the financial course that Arno teaches, the business mastery. Then you've got the lessons from Tate. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, there's not enough hours in the day for me to watch all of this in one day. Like I was that guy. It was like walking into a infinite library of knowledge, and I was like, I want to get all this within 24 hours, but it's in fucking um, and the funny thing is, some of the stuff, while it might sound like common sense, it's really not. Because if it was, it wouldn't be taught. So, man, it was just the ridiculous amount of information. And yeah, there's a reason why they say pick one damn course because it's just so much information. There's no, unless you live in your mom's basement and do not have kids or any responsibilities, you cannot do more than one course at the same time unless you've already like gone through one course and you're still kind of refining it a little bit and you decide to add on to it like I have with like I started with copywriting, finished it, worked on it, and I've for to gain a little bit of extra knowledge, like for example with the social media stuff, I have started and gone through the freelancing course. So they kind of play hand in hand together in some ways, or in a lot of ways. So, yeah.
Hmm. Nice. What would you say have been the three biggest lessons you learned from your time in the real world?
How lazy I was before. Just be 100% honest, and not in terms of my physical health or anything like that. I've always been a big, health person. I go to the gym 5, 6 days a week. I eat remotely healthy. Um, I will get us kicked out of a sushi bar if we ever go to one. And you're in the UK, so maybe one day. But in terms of work wise, I used to think my 9 to 5 that was I put in my 8 hours, I'm done. They talk about the whole thing where the world's got your brain, got you trained to think your job, your day to day should be get up, go to work, come home, relax. And you really, with the real world, when you see all these wins and you see all the potential in terms of how much somebody can make in 1 month or hell even a week, really putting in the effort, really putting in the hours and work, it's like it's almost like driving a car and only pressing the gas pedal halfway, and you think that's as fast as you go, and then your passenger that's riding with you slams their foot on top of your foot, and you're like, what the hell just happened? We're going 120 versus 50 miles an hour. It's really eye-opening in a wow, I can do this much and I'm still good sense. That makes sense. I'm doing even better, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, again, not to be confused with it not being a lot of work. It's hard work, but you really humble yourself in a lot of ways, and your mind. The biggest thing I've had since I've joined is my mindset has done a freaking 180. Like it's funny because my son he does little chores, because he's 6, and I'm trying to, you know, not make him be a slob growing up kind of thing. And he'll be like, Dad, this is unfair. And I'm like, life's not fair. Be a man. You're 6 years old. You've got chest hair now. Let's get to this, get it done, and you can go play. And I say that because it's in hindsight, looking back in those moments with my son, it's so funny because I'm like, don't be a dork, and I say it to him in a joking, loving way, but it's it's so funny just seeing the little improvements in him just based on the mindset shift that just inherently comes with going through all the real world stuff. Everything, you know, you hear, and I don't know if it's the way it's given to you or how to really describe it, but after you've watched a lot of these, lessons from Tate, from the professors, it really shifts your perspective on things in terms of not just your health and yourself, but business, and your character. And, for me as a father, I take those things, those changes, and I use them to improve my relationship with my son. He's obviously 6, but in terms of how I raise him, I want him, when he's 14, 15 years old, I want him to be like one of these 14 or 15-year-olds in here who can go buy a damn car in cash if they want to. You know, when I was 14 years old, we didn't even have internet, I don't think, yet, and just to see the quality of life itself change. Yeah, if I had to sum it up, I would say the real world, it it gives you a different perspective on life, and it changes your quality of life for the better, mentally, physically, academically, obviously, and financially. So I don't think any college can do that for you.
Mhm. Very well put. Now, now that you're on this trajectory, where do you see your life heading in 6 months to 1 year?
That's a good question. Um, 6 months to a year, I plan on some, opinions vary. Some will say this is a small goal, but for me, 6 months to a year, I plan on making equivalent to what my current 9 to 5 salary is. Um, Fuck it. In a year, I plan on, being a millionaire. So, that being said, yeah.
Good. Nice. Maybe before then, as you're scaling up, we'll do a follow-up interview to see how things are going for you. I look forward to that. Now, what kind of an effect has Tate had on you? I know you've mentioned briefly throughout the interview, but now just as a whole question, would you have more to add there?
Him directly, at first, it's kind of funny. And you hear this a lot, actually. At first, I was like, I like the guy. Some things, we see different, we have different opinions on, which I think is healthy. And he even mentions it himself. He's got friends that, they have different opinion on certain things. But for me, it was kind of it kind of gave me a realization slash kick in the ass that, in my mind, I'm like, I have a good job, my 9 to 5 is a good job, I provide for my kid, my family, but I wasn't thinking outside of that box, if that makes sense. And I realized that I'm living in a predetermined reality that was taught to me, growing up. And what that was is you get a good job, you provide for your family, boom, you work your 9 to 5. Um, in theory, that sounds great, but why would you do that when you can, you know, like he says, learn from a millionaire and be a millionaire yourself and work where you want, when you want, wake up where you want, when you want, and work. All you need is a laptop and internet connection. That's so true. I closed one of my clients in a coffee shop, drinking like these weird coffees I'd never tasted before, you know. And I was bored one day, took my laptop with me, got a call, jumped on a sales call, closed the client, and I'm sitting in a freaking corner of a coffee shop, you know, looking at people complain about their lives. And I'm like, I just made, $1,000 while sipping coffee, you know. So I mean, if you take that and you extrapolate it into, other things, it's really a smack in the face of what you can achieve. And you come to realize that you think you've been doing great, and you have, from the mindset that they teach you growing up. But in reality, you've been doing the bare minimum the whole time. So that's kind of what changed for me, and what realization I had. I've been doing the bare minimum, not just for myself, but worse, for my son. I don't want my son to grow up thinking, oh, I just need a good 9 to 5 and that's it. I want him to grow up thinking there's no limitation to what I can achieve financially if I really work. You know what I mean? So that's the biggest takeaway for me.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And before we end off, what advice would you have to people who are considering joining the real world?
My advice would be, if you're sitting at home in your mom's basement, or um, you're just at a point in your life you don't know what to do, because some people are at a point in their life where they're like, I don't know what I want to do, or I'm stuck at a dead end job. I want something else, whatever the case may be. My advice would be spend $50 a month. You spend less than that taking your kids to their favorite little restaurant so they can not eat what you pay for. Kids are picky. You spend less than that when you go to the fair, when you go to a movie, damn sure when you go to a movie, you spend less. You can't really do anything nowadays without spending more than $50 in one night. $50 in 1 month isn't going to do shit to anybody's wallet. Between your Netflix, your Disney Plus, and your Hulu, you probably pay close to that much anyway a month. So just cancel them for a month. Write them out for the rest of the month, whatever. Take your $50, jump into the real world. Worst case scenario, it's not for you, and that's okay. It's not for everybody. That's why That's why in life 1% succeed. So yeah, it's a no brainer. You're learning from people that are millionaires and do what they teach you. So I would rather spend $50 learning from those guys than, $600-700 a month going to a school learning from somebody that is not. So.
Love that. For people who want to find out more about what you're doing or contact you, where can they do so?
Yeah, so if you want to contact me, the easiest way to do that would be probably through my business. It's easy website to go to. It's vault-source.com. You can go there and send me a message directly, and I'm pretty quick to respond unless I'm asleep, or unless you're wanting to talk to me at 5 a.m. on a Saturday. Pretty vigilant there. But that's the easiest way to get a hold of me, is by going to my business website and dropping me a message there. Be it personal message, business inquiry, doesn't matter. Yeah.
Okay. So I will add that to the video description. And Bryan, again, really appreciate your time. Enjoyed listening to your experiences, and I look forward to doing a follow-up in the future.
All right, man. Thanks. Sounds good.
All the best to you, and goodbye.
Thanks.